I never felt that I made horror films. I always felt that I made exploitation films. Exploitation films have an attitude more than anything, an attitude that you don't find with mainstream Hollywood productions. They're a little ruder, a little raunchier, they deal with material people don't usually touch on, whether it's sex or drugs or rock and roll. Frank Henenlotter. 31 Days of Horror, Day 13, Frank Henenlotter's Bad Biology. My first experience watching a Frank Henenlotter movie. I didn't really know what to expect. I went into it completely blind. As the opening credits rolled, I saw a couple of familiar names which immediately made me a little bit more comfortable. So I felt like, okay, there's gotta be something there I'm gonna be able to connect with, and I saw the name James Glickenhaus show up. The maker of The Astrologer, The Exterminator, The Soldier, Blue Jean Cop. He has a cameo in this movie. I think Henenlotter might have made some movies for his production company, which was like a Glickenhaus, Shapiro distribution, I guess, production, I don't know. It's a movie made on a tight budget, but it's beautifully shot. It's made on film. The music was very good, very functional. There was some hip-hop and there was some movie music. It all worked really well. What I loved about Bad Biology was it's what I love about movies. It's storytelling, it's character-based, it doesn't waste its time, it gets to the point, it makes a number of points, it's insightful, it tells us something about human nature, and it does so in an original way. So this movie earns a top score from me. This is probably the cleverest film I reviewed this October so far. Frank Henenlotter's Bad Biology. If you've never heard about it, check it out. It is gonna try you. If you're a schoolish person, it's gonna be like a test, like a litmus test. How repressed are you? How straight-laced are you? Because it is a frank movie, it's an explicit movie. Had it not been so clever, it would have rated a lot lower. It would have been just like one of those lazy trauma productions from Lloyd Kaufman. It isn't, however. It's a very clever plot, and acting was very, very good for the most part. The final minutes of the film go way over the top. For me, they went over the top, where I thought, okay, this is like Japanese tentacle sex movie made for cable TV or something. Just for a few moments there, it felt like, okay, it was getting a little bit repetitive there maybe, but then the film, it wraps up satisfactorily. Let's say the story is really good, however the final minutes, it does sort of lose its reason for being. It had to end somehow. It's a preposterous setup anyway. It's about two young people. Their genitals are unusual. This film is the two finding the way to each other, and there are several murders along the way, and there is a lot of prosthetic genitals. This movie shows nipples, it shows assholes, it shows male and female genitalia in latex and rubber. So don't watch it unless if you're not comfortable with the human physiology. Don't watch this movie, because although I wouldn't call it particularly nasty, it's actually light-hearted and clever and to the point. It is, however, very graphic. So it's good or bad, it depends on where you stand when it comes to what human beings look like naked. There is some sex. It is, however, relatively tame, and it's basically some boob shots. It's not, however, I wouldn't call this like an erotic movie, because the context is so odd. It's a bit grotesque, and I'm not sure if this is meant to be. I'm sure nudity helped the sales, but I wouldn't call this just like a lazy, David Decoteau erotic with like shower scenes or something. I really liked cinematography. The movie is colorful. I watched just the DVD, so I imagine if I ever get this on Blu-ray, I doubt if it's on Blu-ray, I'll have to check, but it might look even better. Cinematography is within the limits of the budget, is exceptionally good. It's just usually just one source of light. There is no fancy lighting, but everything is well framed and it serves the purpose of storytelling 100%. So there are no overt stylish moments where it's style for the style's sake, and it never becomes too grubby to betray the film's limited budget. So it's a very nicely reached a golden middle. I was really pleased to see that this movie runs just about 80 minutes long. I was really relieved because it's been a challenging week and I wasn't ready to tackle anything longer than 90 minutes. So that was excellent about Bad Biology. It's 80 minutes that they zip by. There are so many surprises. It's fast-paced. I'd like to commend the cast one more time. So the main cast includes Charlie Danielson and Anthony Sneed. So their performances, they help ground the outrageous story a bit more in reality, and for the most part the actors really cope with the material really well. Towards the end, where the situations grow a bit more outlandish, I felt that there were times when their acting efforts were getting a little bit more strained. However, it was consistent with the way the story was going, more Kafkaesque and more ridiculous. On the whole, this was a really well acted movie, well scripted, well shot. It just happened not to be a conventional story. It didn't sweep all those odd sexual kinks under the table the way normal films are supposed to. So it's a clever film, it's a personal film, it's got the director's stamp all over it. However, it's also quirky and it might raise a few eyebrows depending how repressed the audience is. I think if you're brought up in more, let's say, old-fashioned traditional values, then this film might even offend you in some ways because it's just so frank. And it takes no prisoners. What I loved about Bad Biology was the female characters. There is quite a bit of female nudity, but the characters are not just victims. They actually have a lot to say, and the main character, played by Charlie Danielson, is a confident person, and she's got sort of as much control over her life as possible, actually. So I was really amazed by how well balanced these dynamics were in the movie. There was quite a bit of swearing there, which although true to the situation, I thought it was a bit maybe overbearing at times. I don't mind the F-bombs, but they were coming thick and fast at certain points. However, they were again justified by just how insane the characters' predicaments were. I can't really name any similar movies if I was to compare Bad Biology to something. I'm just not going to. But there are penis jokes, there are pussy jokes, there is hip-hop, there is some good New York vibes there. I savored it. I would like very much to add this movie to my permanent collection. I'm going to look around. If there is a Blu-ray, I'd like a Blu-ray, but if there isn't, I'll just be happy with the DVD. I'm really pleased to make my acquaintance with Frank Henenlotter, and I'm keen to check out more of his movies. If you know his movies, I'd appreciate a recommendation. Thanks a lot for watching. That was day 13 of this interminable death march. 31 Days of Horror 2021 with me, Alex, a Trash Film Addict. Do subscribe if you enjoy my insights into trashy, horrible, sexy, violent, obscure, artistic cinema.